Welcome to Soul Heart Intuitive, a space for intuitive astrology, soul reflection, and grounded cosmic guidance. I'm Sarah from Soul Heart Intuitive Coaching, and together we'll explore the wisdom of the skies and the wisdom already living within you. Each episode is an invitation to slow down, listen more deeply, and reconnect with the truth your soul already knows. So take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. Hey, beautiful souls. I'm Sarah, your soul oracle, deconditioning coach, and mirror here at Soul Heart Intuitive Coaching. And this is your energy update for the week of August 23rd to August 29th. So this week, something beautiful is unfolding. Not because everything is falling perfectly into place, but because you're beginning to see yourself and your path with greater clarity. The answers you've been searching for aren't somewhere outside of you. They're found in the small moments, the quiet choices, the gentle reminders, the whispers of your intuition. And if you're willing to slow down, you'll hear them. This week's astrology isn't asking you to do more, it's inviting you to become more intentional, to simplify what feels complicated, to trust that healing happens one small step at a time, and to remember that the biggest transformations are often built through the smallest daily choices. On August 23rd, the sun in Virgo trines Chiron and Taurus. Healing doesn't always arrive through dramatic breakthroughs. Sometimes it looks like getting enough rest, speaking kindly to yourself, taking a walk, preparing a nourishing meal, choosing peace instead of perfection. The way that you care for yourself each day becomes the foundation for everything that you're creating. So ask yourself, what small act of self-care would help me to feel more supported today? On August 25th, Mercury enters the sign of Virgo. Your mind begins to clear, distractions fade, priorities become easier to recognize. This is beautiful energy for organizing your thoughts, simplifying your routines, and letting go of everything that's pulling you away from what truly matters. You don't need a perfect plan. You simply need the willingness to take the next intentional step. What habit is ready to support the future that you're creating? Later that day, Mercury and Virgo will trine Chiron and Taurus. Sometimes healing begins with one new perspective. An old story that you've carried for years may suddenly look different. What once felt like a wound now reveals itself as wisdom. Offer yourself compassion, not criticism. You're not who you were when that story began. You're becoming someone new because you choose to heal. So ask yourself, what am I finally ready to see with greater compassion? On August 27th, the Sun and Mercury meet in the sign of Virgo. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions become beautifully aligned. This is a wonderful time to organize your plans, to share your wisdom, and focus on meaningful work. So don't underestimate the impact of small acts of kindness or quiet leadership. You don't have to be the loudest voice in the room to make a difference. Sometimes your presence speaks louder than your words. So, how can you serve with greater intention today? Then on August 28th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is the moment to surrender, not because you've given up, but because you've learned to trust. Some answers don't arrive through logic. They arrive through dreams, through intuition, through synchronicities, through the quiet knowing that you've been trying to explain away. This eclipse reminds you that your soul often knows long before your mind catches up. So trust what continues to gently call your attention. What is your intuition asking you to believe? Later that day, Mercury and Virgo will square Uranus and Gemini. A new idea, a surprising conversation, an unexpected realization. Something will shift your perspective, but don't rush to act. Every inspired idea deserves time to breathe before it becomes a plan. So stay curious, refine it, let it grow naturally. Sometimes the best ideas become even stronger when they're given a little more time. The Sun in Virgo will also square Uranus and Gemini. Life may surprise you. Plans may change. Doors may close. Others may suddenly open. Instead of resisting the unexpected, ask yourself if life is making room for something even better. Flexibility becomes your superpower this week. Not everything will unfold the way that you imagined, but that doesn't mean it's unfolding the wrong way. Sometimes the detour becomes the destination that you were always meant to find. This week isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the process, healing one moment at a time, simplifying what no longer serves you, listening to your intuition, and allowing yourself to adapt as life gently reveals the next step. If something changes unexpectedly, pause before you react. If healing asks for patience, offer yourself compassion. And if your intuition keeps whispering, listen. because the life you're creating isn't built through one extraordinary moment. It's created through every intentional choice that you make, every act of self-care, every moment of trust, every time you choose peace over perfection. The future isn't asking you to rush, it's asking you to stay present, to trust yourself, and to believe that the smallest steps are leading you exactly where you're meant to be. So take a breath. You're not behind. You're right on time, and everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You're not leaving the path. You are the path. So I have pulled three cards for this week for the overall energy. So we have Aquarius, I know, Grand Chine, and Blessings, and fifth house, creativity. So this week is really about exploring what it is that you know. We've been getting clarity regarding certain things that are going on in our lives, but are you really sure in terms of that? This is really a time for you to listen, to tap into what your intuition is telling you. Because hidden within that intuition are those blessings, those things that you thought that you knew from things, past events that have happened. But how do you know them? Really look at things from a different angle and a perspective this week and see what happens. Try to be creative. Have a little fun with this. I know that can be difficult, especially when you're talking about wounding, but there is a reason that you're being asked to look at this. You're being asked to look at it from a different perspective. So try and find a way so that you can make this interesting and fun and maybe even a little dramatic for yourself. You don't have to do it just for the sake of doing it. You are here on your path and you are trying to find a way forward. And with that will come new wisdom. So I've pulled cards for each zodiac sign, and the messages they are layered. Our sun and rising sign is where your future self is whispering to you through the veil. So let's tune in. Remember, this isn't a matter of controlling the outcome, but to mirror back what your soul already knows is ready to shift. So let this be your pause, your anchor, and your reminder that this energy isn't here to break you, it's here to recalibrate you. So we're going to start off with Aries. Aries, your card this week is overreacting, flooded, panic, and past echo. So you are overreacting to some sort of situation. Now, the question is why are you overreacting? Could it be because maybe it hits a little close to home? Or could it be bringing up something that's happened in your past, whether it be this life or another life? And with that just comes this moment of panic. You don't have to panic. This is a time for you to sit back, to really think about things, to try and take a step away and think, why am I reacting this way? Try to see things from a different perspective. And when you're able to do that, you'll start to see things a little bit more clearly. Taurus, your card this week is self-sabotage, destruction, doubt, and survival habit. So, Taurus, you are sabotaging yourself in some situation in your life. You are doing it because you are doubting yourself. And as a result, you think that this can't possibly be true. And so this is a way of you surviving this. But what happens if you take a step back? Instead of having doubt, you have a little bit of confidence that things might turn out the way that you want or that you expect them to. But keep in mind that you've been receiving clarity in regards to something within your life. So really pause before you take any sort of actions and see what it is that is coming up and why. Why are you trying to sabotage yourself in this situation? And once you get the answer to that, then you can act from a different place. Gemini, your card this week is Reclaim the Lost Self, Identity, Power, and Soul Retrieval. So, Gemini, you have let a part of yourself go so that you can have something else in your life. This is really a time for you to look at it is why did you let that part of yourself go? Did you do it because that was the only way that somebody would accept something about you, or that you wanted to fit in so desperately that you were willing to let it go? This is really a time for you to seize and embrace your power. Become the person that you are meant to be. Don't let go of your soul for anybody else, whatever it is that they want. If they are not willing to accept you for you, there is somebody out there who is. Keep that in mind. Embrace your identity and be the strong person that you are. Cancer, your card this week is envy, lack, comparison, and resentment. So you are envious of somebody else. Now, when we're envious of somebody else, typically we have that power within inside of ourselves. But we're going from a place of lack. We're looking at it from the shadow aspect of things. And as a result, we resent people for having that. When if we stepped up, we would have that same power. So, Cancer, I want you to take a look at yourself. Where is it that you're envious of other people? Where is it that you're comparing yourself? Because if you can embrace that aspect and bring it forward in your own life. But you have to be willing to see it for what it is, and that's envy. Leo, your card this week is fear of success, visibility, pressure, and fear of expansion. So you are afraid of being successful, and as a result, you're putting pressure on yourself and not allowing yourself to expand the way that you should. Now, what happens when we are afraid of success is that we oftentimes will keep ourselves small. This isn't a time for you to be small. It's a time for you to be the big personality that you are. Embrace that side of yourself. Don't let the fact that you are being seen for the person that you are hold you back. Be the big, beautiful person that you are, and success will start to come to you. Virgo, your card this week is hold your inner child, love, safety, and reparenting. So something's going on in your life right now that's changing the makeup of who you are. So this is really a time for you to embrace that inner part of yourself. Be that inner child that you wish that you could be. Be the person that you are. Love yourself. Care for yourself. Parent yourself the way that you should have been. Just take some time this week and embrace that inner part of you. And as a result, then you can start to move forward. But you need to take some time this week to be yourself. Libra, your card this week is acceptance isn't resignation, surrender, presence, and inner peace. So accepting a situation for what it is doesn't necessarily mean that you're giving into it. This is kind of the similar piece in terms of forgiveness. You are giving forgiveness so that you yourself can move on, not necessarily because you entirely forgive the person. Although if you do, that's great. This is more a fact of accepting that things are the way that they are. It doesn't necessarily mean that you like it. It doesn't mean that the way that forward makes a whole lot of sense or why did that happen. It's a matter of accepting the fact that it happened. And now, how can you move forward with what happened? So remember, this is a time for you to surrender to what it is that your intuition wants you to know, the direction that it wants you to go. And how can you find inner peace within that? Once you can do that, then you can start taking the path forward. Scorpio, your card is hypersensitive, overinterpretation, wounded ego, and fragile boundaries. So right now you are being sensitive to everything. And as a result, you may be interpreting things in ways that you weren't meant to interpret them. You've been wounded. Your ego needs some time to catch up. And your boundaries right now are really fragile. So as a result, you may let people into your space who you wouldn't normally let into your space. This is a time for you to take a time out. Relax around what it is that's happening. I'm not going to tell you to not be quite so sensitive because sensitivity is one of your gifts. But what you need to do is just know that when you need the time, to take the time so that you are not hypersensitive to everything that's going on around you. This means that if you need to turn off the television, turn off the television. If you need time away from people, take time away from people. Because as a result of all of that energy that's coming out at you, you're not interpreting things clearly. So take the time that you need so that you can interpret things clearly. And once you're able to do that, then you can step away from being so hypersensitive. Sagittarius, your card is performer, image management, validation addiction, and emotional split. So you are splitting yourself into two people. One is the aspect that everybody sees, and the other is the aspect of who you actually are. You're trying to be a performer for people so that people don't actually see what it is that's going on inside of you, because right now there's most likely a lot going on with inside of you. This is a coping mechanism for you. You don't have to do this. You can allow yourself to be seen for the person that you are. And that is ultimately what you should do. Now, feelings are going to come up as a result of you feeling this way. That's okay. Let the feelings come up, but this isn't necessarily a time for you to express them. So allow yourself to be you, to be the person that you are. Because as a result of that, you will receive validation from people that you hadn't necessarily expected. You don't have to perform. You can be you. Capricorn, your card this week is know it all, overcompensation, defensiveness, and ego shield. So, as a result of you thinking that you know everything, you may be pushing people and information away. That is the way that you are shielding yourself from what's going on. This is really a time for you to open yourself up to the possibility that maybe you don't know everything, that maybe you need to take a different approach. You need to look at things differently, be a little bit more curious, see things for what maybe they are. So when you think that you know the answer this week, I want you to take a step back. Say, what information could this teach me? And then really look at things from a totally different place. So when you think you know everything, remember, there's more information that's hidden beneath the surface. So start to look and see what is there, because that will help you to actually see things from how they are as opposed to how you think they actually are. Aquarius, your card this week is Fixer, codependency, save your role, and avoiding your own pain. So, Aquarius, you are trying to use other people's pain and helping them to avoid your own. This isn't a time for you to fix other people. You're trying to use that to make yourself feel better, but you're avoiding something that's going on within inside of you. This isn't the time for you to avoid what's going on inside of you. This is a time for you to look at it, to examine it, and go, why am I trying to avoid this? Why is this making me uncomfortable? And to actually start to look at it and examine it. Because as a result of you examining it, you can start to empower yourself and see things for what they are and see you for who you are. And that is the ultimate goal this week. And Pisces, your card this week is parental control, overpowering authority, conditional approval, and rebellion freeze. So you are trying to look at authority this week for what it is as opposed to what you think it is. This isn't a time for, so it's rebellion freeze. So you have been rebelling against authority, or maybe you haven't been rebelling against authority, is a better way to put it. You don't want these authoritarian restrictions put on you. And so you're out there trying to seek things for what they are. Now, this might not be coming across quite the way that I would like, but ultimately, right now, this is a time for you to not accept conditions for what they are, but to see them for what they are. Hopefully that makes sense. Find a way to look at authority from a different perspective. We all have certain limitations and restrictions placed within us. Sometimes we just need to accept those for what they are. You don't have to rebel against everything that is going on against you, the world, everything else. It can get very tiring to do that. So just look at what authority is trying to teach you right now and see it for what it is. Sometimes the authority is there for a reason, and other times that authority is overstepping its boundaries. Which case is it? And then look at that and start to look at the further story that's behind it. So remember, you're not lost, you're between stories. So let the messages find a place in your body, even if they don't make sense yet, because sometimes the most powerful knowing comes in the quiet after the card is pulled. So let the messages you received anchor your next step, even if you can't see the full map yet. Our sun and rising sign are codes that are layered. Let them sit, let them settle. And if you're craving deeper cosmic guidance and spiritual anchoring, come join me inside the Soul Keys Temple. It's my signature monthly membership. You can find full details at www.soulheartintuitivecoaching.com. And you can also always book a personal soul session with me if you want to go deeper one-on-one. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, and the magic continues there. So here's to a week of sacred pivots, anchored clarity, and deep inner resonance. So stay tuned in, stay luminous, stay you, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you for spending your time with me here at Soul Heart Intuitive. If this episode resonated, please be sure to follow the podcast and share it with someone who may need this message today. And if you're ready to explore your own cosmic blueprint, cycles, and the deeper wisdom guiding your path, you can learn more or book a session at www.soulheartintuitivecoaching.com. Until next time, trust your intuition, stay connected to your truth, and remember to stay connected to the wisdom within you.